beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. You guys, I got to give a few disclaimers, okay? I need y'all to bear with your girl. She has been, me, her, I have been, excuse me. See, y'all got to bear with me with a little bit of coughing, okay? I've been battling COVID for almost a week. It's been about a week or so. Me being able to hear my voice today is the first time in the week because some things was going on with my throat. It was just like on constant fire for days, and it just would not ease up. But we're getting there to where I can talk without coughing every 2 seconds. But I still, when I do a little bit too much, I gotta cough. So if y'all can bear with me with the coughs, cause I don't see, I be trying to hold my coughs in. I don't want to keep cutting out every second, every time I cough. So if y'all can bear with me, we can get through to this. If you are new here, hey, sorry, this is what you get. But look at the dedication. I am here as soon as I can be. I'm here. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider because your girl is dedicated. And this was a pretty decent episode. I was entertained. So I did want to definitely review it. So let's get to it. Oh, I didn't even say what we're reviewing. We're reviewing, excuse me. We're, sorry, y'all. We're reviewing Real Housewives of Atlanta. And yeah, the episode picked up exactly where it left off, where Drew was walking up. She came in. Sonya met her at the door. Sonya, being super phony, decides to go and play with her hair and everything. Oh, you decided to come. I'm glad you came. And Drew's like, yeah, I wasn't, uninvited, so I decided to go ahead and come. She's a dumbass. And I can't remember who I was watching review that said she should not have come because that still gave her the upper hand. And I mean, I don't know that she really has an upper hand, but it made her look not so desperate. If like you look like you stuck it to her. She disinvited you to one, so no, I'm not coming to the other. And then you look like the winner. Like, okay, she didn't get to play you, but now you look like you're being played, in my opinion. But y'all know I don't like Drew, so any chance I get to talk about her, I am. But flip side of that, Sonya, damn, I was trying to ride with Sonya because I was really kind of understanding what Sonya was doing and trying to distance herself. Excuse me. Excuse me. Trying to distance herself from Drew with the group or whatever because she was brought in by Drew, all that I've said like every other episode. And she confirmed it on Speak On It. So, but this whole phony thing that she's given, and she was moving kind of funny tonight. So we'll get into it. I'm not going to jump ahead, but Drew gets there. Sonya takes her arm, all super phony, like, hey, Ma, this is Drew. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one y'all was just shitting on in the store a couple hours ago. So she had to make sure her mom knew. Her mom was still gracious. She gave Drew a hug. Oh, you missed the cooking part. So then they have to clown the fact that she missed the cooking part and she gets to come and eat. And I'm like, y'all know Drop It with Drew want to come eat. Stop it. All right, so as they sit down to start eating, Sonya's like, I said I had a prize for the best dirty wine. And here it is. So she opens up her little thing that has her gold medal. And all the ladies are excited, like, oh, and she's like, I'm just sure they haven't seen one in real life. So, I mean, that's cool. And Drew, the only hater in the bunch, and she's just sitting there looking. And in her confessional, she's like, yeah, you don't see Kenya bringing her Miss USA crown or Kandi bringing her Grammys. And I'm like, bitch, what do you have? What do you have, Drew? Your VHSs of the game when you was on a couple episodes? Like, what do you have? She is such a hater. And then she had the nerve. Drew, y'all, had the nerve to call Sonya a pick-me, a try-hard. Again, this is Drew. This is Drew saying somebody else is a try hard and a pick me. Unbelievable. All right, and so the winner was Marlo, and y'all, Marlo really was getting down there with her old ass. She was getting down there, and them knees was working out, so I ain't mad at her. But I ain't gonna lie, Sonya, this is kind of a lame gift. She get to wear your gold medal. I mean, yeah, that's cool, but where's the real gift? So in the confessional, Marlo is like, I'll get myself a nice little chain made. And I'm like, girl, you better hurry up and get your medallion back before Marlo do something with that. But Marlo is so freaking phony. She's like, Kandi, feel how heavy it is. And I'm like, you were literally just outside calling her a hoe 10 minutes ago. Like, literally calling her a hoe. And now she's your best friend. She's the one that you want to feel the chain. So phony. The chain, not the chain, the medal was from 2012. Yeah, it was a while ago, but it's still something to be proud of. So I'm not mad at Sonya. All right, so now it's time for Sonya and Drew to have this conversation. And Drew starts out with, Sonya's like, I'm glad you're here so that we can have this talk. Drew is like, yeah, because I'm just really confused when you were in my room. So we got to go back to what we already talked about. When she was in the room getting her makeup done, and Drew was like, by Artez for free. And Sonya's like, hold up, hold up. It was not for free. And Drew was like, well, did you pay him? And she's like, listen, I came in, he was in town, he said he would do it, it's $25. I haven't talked to you since New York, so I don't have his information. And I'm like, hold on, hold on, hold on, flag on the play. He doesn't have any sort of electronic payment. Like, you can't Zelle him. I don't use Cash App, I just use Zelle. But, most of the kids are using Cash App, Apple Pay, something. Like, there was no way to electronically get this man his money or try to find out his information at some point. Like, a little reminder, a little reminder. Hey, Drew, I owe this guy $25. What's his number? What's his info or whatever? She probably forgot, but Drew, and first of all, Drew is just so petty for bringing that up. It's not your money. So why are you so upset about it and keep bringing out the fact that it was done for free? Girl, bye, Drew. Yeah, but the funny part is, Sonya's mom was turned up immediately, like, like immediately. So I'm watching it for the second time, and I'm able to catch some things that I didn't catch the first time. And when I tell you her face, she's pissed and she's turned up immediately. So of course, immediately Sonya starts screaming, and Drew is being condescending as usual, where she's like, "Breathe, calm down, communicate." I can't stand that shit. Like, I cannot stand that. But now I'm not gonna lie, Sonya was very, very turned. Like, she was so loud. But she's saying that all these things are important to her when she's trying to, develop a friendship. And I don't understand what's going on with your business. It's just not adding up, which was a little far left, where I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And Drew was just like, you could have talked to me about any of this, at any point in time. You could have called me, but you needed to do it in front of the group. And my thing is, it's a show. Excuse me. It's a show. And if that's what we do, then that's what we do. So don't act brand new. Um, and not to mention, Sonya is trying to turn up for the show. I am now converted to feeling like Sonya is trying to turn up for the show. Um, which I kind of felt was it the first or second episode at Marlo's thing, when she was following up behind Sheree and going to tell Marlo what everybody said, where I was like, why is this new girl being super messy like this? Like, why would you do that? I think I think she's trying to give whatever she got to give for the show. And listen, I'm not mad at the fact that she didn't talk to Drew with a one-on-one. And I really think she wanted to do it in front of all the girls, just to let the girls know this girl is not my actual friend. So anyway, Drew says that it was like her taking the knife and turning it, the fact that she invited her to this shoot and then uninvited her. And Sonya's just like, well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings. So Drew makes a face. And Sonya's like, Drew, I hate when you make them faces. And I understand what she's talking about, because I do too. But if you can't sit here and have a conversation excuse me, without making a billion different faces or whatever, then we don't need to talk. It's so annoying. She's so annoying. So it's so funny to see Mama Joyce trying to diffuse the situation or not really be involved in the mess. And she was just telling Sonya's mom how whatever they're fighting about is just so insignificant and so stupid. And Sonya's mom is like, yeah. However, Sonya's mom did not take her eyes off the conversation, and she was still looking pissed off because her daughter was involved. So she ends up telling Drew, listen, just give her the same respect she's giving you and let her speak. And when she's talking, Drew does this little shimmy wiggle type thing even at Sonya's mom. And Sonya's mom is like, see you doing all that or whatever. Can you just sit and, let somebody basically get their shit off, even though she didn't say that, but that's what she wanted to say, I could tell. And then we have Kenya talking to Kenny, and she's like, oh Lord, her mom ready to beat her ass. And Sheree is in the confessional like, now Drew, you done messed up when you got somebody's mom ready to flip a table. You should just be quiet sometimes. And she should. She talked too goddamn much. So even with all that, Drew still doesn't let her speak and says, listen, I was just trying to have a conversation about what happened and not be phony like everything's okay. And she's like, I feel like you're a clout chaser. And Sonya loses it. She's like, clout chasing off of who? You? And Drew is like, no, not me. And I'm like, obviously not you, Drew. And she's like, because I don't have enough followers. And Sonya's like, hold on, I'm a 4-time award winner. Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but she's hitting the table talking about how many gold medals she won. And she's like, put some respect on my name. And everybody's like, ooh. And Drew, of course, is like, oh, because trying to save face. No, she made you look stupid because what do you have, Drew? So then you have Kandi and Kenya in their confessional saying, yes, bitch, that's how you read somebody. Candy's like, that's how you boss up on them. You better boss up on them. And Kenya's like, mic drop. I thought it was funny that who was left, Marlo and Hayden and Sheree, neither one of them said nothing in their confessional about the little remark that she made. I guess they wasn't, they wasn't moved by that. And so in this scene, y'all, I just really want to wipe Drew's face. I just really do. Like, I don't know if it's sweat or what the hell is all over her face, but she is so oily. She's just greasy. Ugh. But she she does make sense though, where she's like, listen, friendship is like any other relationship where you're not gonna always see eye to eye and get along. It's the only time I will ever agree with Drew. And she says that again, she feels like she's moving kind of funny style. And she's like, so moving on, speaking of friends, Kenya, did you tell Kandi what you thought about the vibrating panties? And I'm like, really? You go out to lunch with this girl, she tells you something, and you decide to throw her under the bus about it? Y'all, I'm gonna just have to breathe when it comes to Drew, I swear to God. So Kenya's like, oh, since Drew so very nicely threw me into her mudslinging, yeah, Kandi, I felt like it was inappropriate to have other men and other people, controlling the thing. And then here we go with the mamas jumping in. And that's what I'm saying. Mama Joyce didn't care as long as it wasn't her daughter involved. But Mama Joyce right away said, listen, if you didn't want to wear the panties, then just don't wear the panties. Ain't nobody controlling my vagina. She said vagina. And Kenya's like, I know they not. And I'm like, yeah, y'all got the mamas too involved here. All of this just probably should have been saved for later. But then again, it's just also stupid, you guys, and it's just never going away. The things that they are arguing about is the show. Do y'all understand that? These panties being inappropriate, and we've already talked it to death. Yes, to me, they were very inappropriate for her to do that. She didn't see anything wrong with it. I just saw her speak on it where she talked about it and said she felt like it was just fun. Her normal friend group would just do it, even though she didn't say if they have or haven't, but she said they wouldn't have been so offended, but she never really even put together the whole thing of men doing it. She said she felt like women, if they were getting into an argument or whatever, you can just zap somebody. And I'm like, yeah, but zap them down there? No, ma'am. We're not zapping down there. I'm sorry. That's just not a fun game, Kandi. But again, we are going to talk this to death. And even on her speak on it, she said it's going to come back up again. We're not done with Pantygate. All right, so we finally wrap up this scene with Kandi saying that, people talked about Kenya's sex life long time ago back in the day. And Marlo is like, oh, yeah, she slept with half of Hollywood. And they're like, who? Oh, just Google back in the 90s when she was popping and she slept with him. Yeah, I just think they doing too much of this sleeping with and hoe and all that. It's just too much. I really feel like Marlo is bringing the franchise down. I'm sorry, I could be reaching. I don't feel like it. I just feel like she is just too much. She's always been too much, but now it's a lot of too much. Like we're getting a lot of her and it's way too much. But anyway, I hate that Kandi said that as well. Like I don't remember hearing. I mean, but then again, I ain't in the same streets that they in. But I didn't know that Kenya was out there like that or whatever. Like I don't know. But yeah, so we wrap up the scene. Sonya says she gotta go. I only got it till 9. We gotta go. And everybody's like, all right, cool. And she's like, to be continued. Drew is like, no, we're gonna put a period on this. And I'm like, no, you're not. Little do you know, there's no period on anything in on these shows. All right, you guys, so true story. I am about to fast forward and not really talk about Marlo in this expo. She is at some sort of women's expo. I don't know why. I don't know what Marlo does. Apparently, she helps out orphans. She was an orphan. She went to a bunch of different, do they say orphan still? I don't know. But she went to a bunch of different homes or whatever. So she likes to help out the girls. And all right, great. So then we get such a weird scene, excuse me, with Sonya and her entire family coming to sit on the couch. It's like they called a family meeting to talk about Drew. It was so freaking weird. They all just sat around and she told them about the dinner. And I mean, it just looked so staged and weird that I ain't like it. I'm like, if y'all gonna do this, y'all gotta at least make it look like everybody just so happened to be in the front room on the couch at the same time. But y'all just literally coming down there like meeting time, meeting about Drew time. But anyway, she's telling them about the dinner, and basically, we're just gonna wrap that up. Drew, is very smart mouthed, and she said something about her clout chasing. Sonya told them, she told her, I am an Olympic gold medalist. I am the clout, and all that. And they were very impressed. Her father gave her gunshots, and her sister was just like, Drew got a lot of nerve. Like she wasn't even Melanie on the game. And then her parents are like, the game? What's the game? And they start laughing because not even everybody watched the game, so nobody really knows Drew. Oh, excuse me. Nobody really knows Drew or what she did for real. And I ain't even gonna get on Drew again. But yeah, end scene. And again, Sonya, y'all need to make it look a little more believable, please. We would like our reality TV at least looking less scripted. So then we have Marlo done with her little expo, and Drew FaceTimes her asking, what did I miss at the dinner? And she is just telling her some kind of way it ended back on Kandi. I don't know what Marlo's fixation is with Kandi. I honestly don't know if it's because Kandi is the OG now, and when you first come on, you gotta pick a fight or do something with the OG in order to get all this camera time or really make yourself relevant, because it's just seeming so weird why Marlo keep just fucking with Kandi for no good reason. Like the whole conversation then stemmed back to the fact that she don't understand why Kandi didn't reach out to Sheree and offer to go eat at the old lady gang. Sorry, y'all. I took one last day off of work just to make sure, I'm good. And when I tell you the phone has been blowing up, where shit, I may as well be getting paid. Like, why am I using my time if I am continuously getting calls still? Anyway, doctor, is he a doctor? Jack Daniels comes over to Sheree's house. And y'all, I'm not gonna lie, Chateau Sheree is nice, y'all. It took like 12 years to get done. I ain't judging. It is very, very nice. Even on the outside, it's very nice. But he comes over and she asks if he wants something to drink. He's like, "What you got?" And she only gives him tea. She's like, "Tea," and that's it. That was the only option. I feel like Jack Daniels wanted something a little stronger. So you gonna ask him if he wants something to drink, and you only give him one option, girl. You could have even said water, coffee, something. But anyway, he goes to sit down with her, and I really don't want to watch this whole thing again. I just want to talk about how he told her, the whole thing with Tyrone. She took forever to tell the story. She's like, "I went there and I drove there and I was waiting and I'm like, get to the goddamn point." And finally, she lets him know that he kind of played her. Jack Daniels' point was something about Tyrone fantasizing about her while he was incarcerated and jagging off. And she looked up like, "What?" And I did too. I had looked away from the TV last night and I was just like, "Hold on. Did he just say that?" No, y'all, I like professionalism. I like for my professionals to be professional. I don't care how many years she been seeing him. I guess it's been years, but he could have even said masturbating, something like that. But jagging off, dude, who are you talking to? It's inappropriate. Excuse me. Sorry, y'all, nasty noises. I can't help it. I'm trying to breathe. But um, who are you talking to like that? Like, don't talk to me in an inappropriate way. Y'all want to talk about these panties. Don't let this man sit up in your house using these terms and phrases. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just felt like it was mad inappropriate. But it couldn't have been just me because Sheree looked up at him too like, "What?" Yeah, no. Anyway, they ended with him saying, "Next time, no more felons, basically. Don't get no more felons." And I'm like, it's a shame that you're a grown ass woman and all these people have to keep telling you not to get felons. Oh, in that scene, she also talked about She by Sheree and the fact that she has been doing that for 1,200 years as well and can't seem to get it off the ground because she's a one man show and she was a little focused on Tyrone. So now that she's done with Tyrone, sorry, now that she's done with Tyrone, she can focus totally on She by Sheree. And I'm like, y'all, that's the dumbest thing ever that she really hasn't brought anything out under that name because who doesn't know She by Sheree now? Like, it's a well known name. Whether or not people really want to buy it would depend on how she designs and how, but that's not what she does. I don't even think she's really into that, and that's why it's never come out. So she can have all these excuses about not having a team, but the fact of the matter is, she's just not into it. She really isn't. Talking about she came up with water bottles and mugs or whatever. It just sounds like she's trying to get a quick money grab, and her heart really isn't in it, and that's why it's never, gotten off the ground because she doesn't really care. Yeah, then we have Kandi and Todd cleaning out the guest house and going through some clothes. And she said Marlo got this, thing where she donates and she helps out these orphan kids. Do they call them orphans? Why is that the only name coming to my head? Are they called something different now? I don't know. But he's like, okay, so anyway, they're going through the suitcases and the bags or whatever, and Todd is pulling out, Todd is pulling out clothes that just don't look good. None of them are cute at all. And I'm sure there was a lot of stuff, and I'm sure they showed us the funny stuff because Todd was just like, "That ain't cute. That ain't popping. That ain't gonna work." Like, he is so stupid. But it wasn't good stuff from what, we saw. But again, it was bags and bags of stuff. I'm sure some of that stuff was fine. Some of it probably still had tags. And like Kandi said on her speak on it, some of that stuff she probably only wore one time. But anyway, y'all, this part pissed me off so bad. She calls Marlo and she told Marlo that she's going through stuff to, her old clothes to bring to donate to her girls. And Marlo was like, I don't give my girls used stuff. I'm sorry, but we don't get used stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? Really? What? Excuse me. And girl, like, how are you going to be so choosy about what you get when you are asking for donations and things like that? Like, Marlo was ridiculous. And she's like, when I was, when I was, why do I keep wanting to say orphan? I need to really listen to what term they use, but she was saying that when she was in the system, basically, she didn't like getting the used clothes and everything. And that's just very superficial. Girl, if you want it, I mean, I get what she's saying. Yeah, you're able, you're worth new stuff. But if you are right now not in the position to get and receive new stuff, then no. Like, what the heck? Um, yeah, I just think she's so ridiculous. And Todd is like, I told you Marlo wasn't gonna want this used stuff. It's just so ridiculous. And Kandi was taken aback and was like, what? What? Oh, okay. And that's exactly how I would have been. Are you kidding me? So on the speak on it, last night, Kandi was just like, I didn't have to do anything. Like, I could definitely give money. I could definitely buy new things for them or whatever. But the point is, when someone is giving, they're getting, like, you don't have to do anything. So Marlo is just straight ridiculous. I so very badly do not want to look at her next year. I'm not even kidding. Her and Drew, I don't want to deal with. Even Sonya. All right, so next up we have Kenya and Sheree meeting for lunch or brunch or something. And I don't like this bun at the very top of Sheree's head. I don't like it. And I also don't like the fact that she ordered her food way before Kenya got there. And I'm jumping ahead, but by the time Kenya comes to sit down, Sheree is already eating, which is just very rude. But yeah, Kenya looks cute. She has on this, it looks like a Fendi jumpsuit or whatever. I'm not in love with the shoes, or at least with that outfit. And it looked like she couldn't really walk in them. Like, I just feel like Kenya still sounds congested and everything. Like, you can tell she still doesn't feel well to me. But she comes to meet Sheree for lunch. So when Kenya comes, she starts talking about how she's not up on her game, basically. She was supposed to do all this stuff for Walmart, all this stuff, regarding her business that she hasn't had a chance to get done. And Sheree is like, who's helping you? She said, no one. I find that hard to believe, excuse me, that Kenya got a legitimate business, like a real actual business where you can order shit offline and everything, and nobody's helping her. I don't know. But she said that she's been too focused on her personal life and letting the business fall by the wayside. And she's going to, excuse me, get it together. God, so many nasty noises, y'all. I'm sorry. So this is where Sheree starts talking about how she has the same issue, no help or anything. And when she comes very close to getting it done, the men that she work with are always like, I like you, don't you? And I'm like, how many times does that happen, Sheree? Now, I'm not doubting that it probably has happened, but how many times did that happen? And like Kenya said, fuck it, just go get a bunch of women. Like, I don't get it. But Kenya's like, everybody knows the name. If she's thinking like I'm thinking, it's just less than smart not to come out with something. Like, come out with something. Um, I wonder if she got that name trademark. I'll come out with some She by Sheree. We'll see how it does. But yeah, I just think Sheree is having a field day. With the fact that she can come up with the same excuse that Kenya just said. Yeah, I have no help either. That is not your only issue, Sheree. But anyway, I want to wrap it up. I am just like talking forever, and this is a very long video, and we still got another part to get to. But anyway, with this lunch, they talk about how Kenya is explaining how she still don't feel well. She's still coughing and everything. She's explaining to Sheree, that she really didn't feel well, etc. And Sheree is like, "Oh, I believe her." And I'm just like, Sheree is so phony. Like, she will say whatever with whoever, whatever fits where she is and who she's with at the time. That's what she's gonna do because King is like, Marlo is just on a mission to make people think I'm not a good friend. And she's just like, and Sheree is just shaking her head, yeah, and everything. And now all of a sudden, oh my God, I believe her. She said she was sick. She was sick. She said she was sick the first day. Why didn't you believe? Because Marlo was in your other ear, and right now she's not. Sheree does not have a mind of her own. I swear to God. She is such a dingbat. Believe it or not, y'all, Sheree is a dingbat. All right, so Kenya wants to do a lunch or something with all the girls, so she invites them via text message, and it looks like they all pretty much accept they accept the invite, except for Kandi because she is working on another show, so she's in, I think they said California. But Drew gets there first and she's talking to herself because she's a weirdo. Oh my God, I'm here first. I guess I just toasted myself. Like, shut up. She can't shut up for 2 minutes, even when she's alone. The waitress comes out with this very terrible, terrible dress. Like, I was very offended by what she had on. It wasn't right. But Drew orders a drink and then comes Sonya, and it's very uncomfortable with just them two. And I'm like, this is what y'all needed, right? Like, Sonya, why would you not take this opportunity to get this shit out and get it done if it's just y'all two? You kept saying you was waiting on an opportunity to talk to her, and the cameras are here, which is obviously what Sonya wants. She wants to do it in front of the cameras, but you don't need a billion people around. You can still get your shit off, which is her. But for some reason, they were just like, "You good? No, yeah, I'm good." Like, just phony stuff. Unless they came to the conclusion that, listen, we just not gonna be friends, we just not gonna fool with each other, we'll be cordial, then I feel like they could have taken this opportunity to actually talk and hash things out if that's what they wanted to do. All right, y'all. Now we have Marlo showing up, and she looked cute. Her hair was really cute, the curls and everything. I was feeling it. But she said she's not having a good day, and she starts talking about how her sister is incarcerated for a minor traffic violation. And y'all, has her sister been in jail this whole entire time? Because Marlo has definitely had these boys for a couple years now, right? So, how is it a minor traffic violation unless she was somewhere else before? I'm confused on that because for sure she has had them for quite a while now. But she she's saying, excuse me, that, she was trying to be released. The judge said no because he could tell that something's wrong with her and she wants to be released to go to daily treatments or something like weekly. And he's like, no, you need to be an inpatient treatment. And she doesn't really want that. So Marlo wants to talk to her with the kids to see if they can, persuade her to go to an outpatient, an inpatient rather, facility. And that way she could be released like today. But apparently the sister's not feeling it. Excuse me. And just to wrap up that part, because I don't want to go back and forth, later on after we have this scene, Marlo goes downstairs with the boys and I think the nanny, and they FaceTime with the mom. Marlo says that the mom, her sister, sees the boys or whatever, and she is just like still not budging. She's cursing Marlo out. She's, not trying to do what they want her to do. And Marlo is squeezing with all her might to try to get some tears out. None fell, guys. And she tried really, really hard though. And I just feel bad that, the little boys, if something like that did happen, because they didn't show it, the little boys were there to, witness it. And it's just a lot to go through seeing your mom, I'm sure, have these episodes and outbursts and issues. But Marlo, I still don't have any sympathy for her at all because she's Marlo's kind of trash, you guys. And I feel like this, kind of contributes, excuse me, this kind of contributes to why she is the way she is, where she's just bitter and mean and shitty for no good reason. But I think it's because she has a lot going on in her life, and she had a lot going on in her life. But I'm sorry, I just can't shoot her that much bail because you are a grown ass woman, and I need you to take whatever steps you need to take to get over it, get past it, work through it, heal. But for you to run around just being toxic to everybody and just having the excuse of, oh, life is hard, my life has and is hard. No, she's a shitty person, y'all. I'm sorry. So I feel bad for the boys. I don't feel bad for Marlo. Get your shit together. Be a better person. I'm gonna leave it there. But you know, I wish nothing but the best for her nephews, and hopefully her sister can get whatever help she needs to clean up and get better and get her boys back. But other than that, nothing for Marlo. All right, so Kenya comes in and she looks cute. I like the little suit she has on. I think it's a skirt, but I love the blazer. Yeah, but she tells them she doesn't want to hug them because she doesn't want them to get too close. And Marlo with her phony ass, oh, you look cute. You look, Marlo, save it. And you can tell that Kenya just really isn't feeling it, but she was being cordial. Like, oh, thanks, you guys all look beautiful. You can really tell she don't feel well. And that wig on her head that's gonna come up later, it really is sitting in a special kind of way. Like, I feel like she did not want to come and she just threw that shit on and ran out the door or something. So Kenya. Yeah, can we talk about what Sheree is wearing? First of all, from the neck up and everything, she looks cute. All that color on her looks really, really cute. And the matching lipstick, I loved it. However, she had on fishnet stockings. Okay, still could have worked with that, but she had on like some combat boots or something and a leather jacket over the dress. And I'm just like, y'all, Sheree is giving me Giselle. I just don't see fashion with Sheree. Definitely don't see it with Sonya, what she has on, and of course not Drew. Drew just looks dowdy all the time. But Sheree almost made it. Her hair is always fabulous though. Well, I didn't like that top knot, but excuse me. But the curls, I love those curls on any of them actually. Yeah, and speaking of clothes, um, Marlo is so fat. The lady comes around, the waitress comes around, and she's taking their orders. And when she's done, Marlo is like, "Love your dress." And no, that was total shade because the dress looks like shit. So Marlo just can't stop shading, and she didn't even like you would believe her if you didn't know that she was definitely being shady and funny and rude. So we sit down and we're talking, and right away Marlo brings up the fact that Kandi called trying to give used clothes, and she's like, "We don't take used clothes for my girls." And Kenya's like, "What?" I mean, she was very sincere with the what. Like, she's just like, "What are you saying?" Yeah, I don't give my girls used clothes. And she's like, the message you're sending them is all wrong. You're basically telling them to put value in clothes or whatever, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Who didn't grow up on hand-me-downs? She said she grew up on hand-me-downs, and Marlo's like, I was teased about my clothes. Who wasn't teased? And she's like, don't put somebody down or vilify somebody because their way of giving is just not good enough for you. And that's exactly what she's doing. So Kenya says, this is the same way you tried to vilify me with the whole charade thing and telling me that I'm not sick. And Marlo's like, well, are you sick today? Because you don't look sick. And you can clearly tell that Kenya is still sick. So something is off with Marlo. And that's what Kenya says. She's like, your comprehension is off. Something is off with you. And she's like, no, that wig is off. Kenya says, yeah, it is off because I just threw this shit on. It's a mess. And excuse me, I believe her. Yeah, I can't believe I'm really feeling Kenya this season, but I'm really feeling Kenya this season. She stood up. I'm not sure why. Maybe she was just uncomfortable, but she's standing up arguing about how she's not being a friend. Marlo is saying something about how she's from down south and she wants to be the type of friend where you come and lay on their bed. And Kenya's like, no, that you're not that type of friend. You talk behind people's back. Like, there's no way I would ever consider myself Marlo's friend because you can't tell her anything. You can't be vulnerable with her because no matter what, at some point she's going to use that shit against you. Please believe it. So Marlo then makes this whole thing about how when Kenya told her she wasn't feeling well, she still got off the phone with her, asking her if she's okay, and because she's always gonna make sure her and Brooklyn, excuse me, are okay because she's a single mom and yada yada, and she loves Kenya no matter what. They can fight, but she still, and that's the thing with Marlo, she doesn't know how to be an actual real friend. She think all this shit is cute, all of this back and forth frenemy stuff. I don't do frenemies. I'm sorry. If I feel like you have an issue of any kind, you throwing shade, you being shitty, I'm not fooling with you. So she thinks it's fine. She turns to Kenya and tell her that I love you, girl. But we're good. She's like, her issue is with Kandi. She just wants her to show, a little bit more. And I'm like, first of all, y'all not friends like that. Secondly, how does the conversation always, always, always with Marlo come back to Kandi? Now she's fine with Kenya. Now it's Kandi. And I don't like the conversation because Candy's not there. But of course, Sheree jumps in and says that Kandi has not been a good friend to her this year because, if she found out about Tyrone, why didn't she call her? Why wasn't she there for her? And I'm like, Sheree, people don't have to run around after you, making sure you okay after chasing a felon, a freaking convict. No, be smarter. And secondly, I understand why Kandi didn't come to her because, like Kandi said, she was waiting for her to say something. Like, who's gonna call and say, "Oh yeah, Kenya told me what happened to you. Are you okay?" Like, no, be okay. Leave his ass alone. You shouldn't have been talking to him in the first place, probably. But I just don't understand this whole thing with Sheree acting like somebody died or something that she really needed support about. And Kandi is not her friend like that. Lean on your daughter like you was doing. Lean on your real friends. Candy's not your girl like that. So I don't get it. But again, all of this had to come back to Kandi for, some way with her and Marlo. Kandi is the villain. Yeah, I can't believe how long this video is. And I think it's probably because I talked so long about other things. Sorry. But Sonya tells Sheree that, she found out and she didn't call her because she didn't know if it was appropriate or not to really call and be like, hey, heard what happened to you, sounding like a rumor mill. And my thing is, why aren't you mad at Sonya the same way? I guess because Sonya isn't supposed to be her friend, even though she knows Candy's not her friend like that either. But Sonya then tells Marlo and Sheree that she felt bad about the mommy thing or whatever, the shoot, and she wanted to invite them out. I guess I can't remember where they're going, but it's a Nike shoot or something. So they're all frantic about it, and Drew is like, "What about uninvited guests?" And she's like, "Nah, me and you still have stuff to work out." I'm like, she's not fucking with you for real, for real. She's like done with her for real. And Drew is looking stupid, constantly like, what about me? What about me? If you are not invited, don't go. Ain't that what that meme say or whatever? Like, why do you keep trying to insert yourself? Talk about a pick me, right? Yeah, so then Sonya just starts snapping off because Drew says, You invited me to that too. And she's like, I never invited you, Drew. I told you about it. I never invited you. So Drew was like, why would I want to be your friend, somebody who does stuff like that? And I'm like, ding, ding, ding. If the girl ain't fooling with you, then don't want to be her friend, fool. But Sonya, and this is what I'm saying, I tried to have her back, but she's like going off the deep end, and she's like, Drew, you're driving me crazy because you keep over talking me, and I'm trying to have a relationship with you. And I'm like, you're really not, though. You're trying to tell her why you don't want to have a relationship with her, and that's valid. Then leave her alone. Quit fooling with her. Just tell her, I don't agree with the way you act and everything. Like, that's not how, I want, or who I want to be around or whatever. So we will be cordial. We'll work together, but we're not friends. Just tell her that, Sonya. But Sonya goes from 100, no, 0 to 100, like every single time. And she's loud, and she's always trying to have a moment. I'm sorry, I tried to ride with her, but I do feel like she's having a moment every single time. And it's like you're making yourself look crazy every single time. Calm the fuck down. Why are you doing all that? Just say what you excuse me, say what you gotta say and shut up. But Drew, of course, is just like, oh, something's wrong with you. Like she is very condescending and ridiculous as well, to where I wouldn't want to deal with her either. Listen, done with this whole argument that of course we're not done with, but we're still going crazy about and now what's her name, Sonya has a whole nother argument about the makeup artist, and now that's a thing about her not paying her bills and everything. And I'm like, pick an argument and stick with it and finish that one off first. Now we're on to something different. Just wrap it all up in a bow and say, because of all of this, I don't like you. Yeah, so then Drew is all like, you're unstable. Bro, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And as soon as she says that, Kenya starts pulling her chair over because they're literally sitting right next to each other, hands and faces and everything. And Tanya turns around towards her and say, what do you want to do? Bro, where do you want to go? And I'm like, Drew gonna get her ass kicked one day. And I would love to be there to witness it. But all of that, what do you want to do and everything, she be fooling with the wrong ones. First Sheree, and now Sonya. Drew's definitely at some point gonna get her ass kicked. All right, so Sonya's screaming, Drew is screaming, Sheree and Kenya are kind of pulling them apart. They're constantly calling each other bro, which I don't understand. What's up with you, bro? No, bro, you're whack, bro. What? um, so Drew leaves, even though her nipple is showing, and she said they're her new nipples. But Kenya goes downstairs, and y'all, something's going on with Kenya. Like, I mean, she didn't feel well, and I feel like I can totally tell she didn't feel well. The way she was walking down the stairs, like she was really struggling, and she's asking Drew what's happening. What's going. Drew is like, she just went crazy, and Kenya's like, no, listen, you was over talking her, and she's like, oh, I thought I was listening well, and Kenya's like, no. And upstairs, Sonya, of course, is like, I don't think I want to get to know her. You already knew you didn't want to get to know her anymore. So why are you acting like you're just now coming to this conclusion? You were done with her. So be done with her. So again, that's the end of the episode. Everybody hugs and leaves it at that. I guess Sheree, Sonya, and Marlo will be going out of town at some point. No, yeah, and good luck with that, Sonya. But that's the end. I mean, the end of the episode, of course, ended with Marlo and her situation, but we already covered that. So, if you are still here, almost, what is it, 50 minutes? Oh my God, this is the longest video, excuse me, I've ever made. If you are still here in the end, oh my God, say I made it in the comments because you are definitely the real MVP. And I do want to shout out my new subbies. I have a couple of them, y'all. Don't hate. Welcome, my new subbies, to the Beautiful People family. And I will see you guys in the next video. Yeah, I was gonna try to do P Valley and Real Housewives of Huntsville, but nothing really happened on Huntsville, and I just can't do P Valley. Like, I just can't, y'all. I did so much talking right now, more than I've done in almost a week. So I am done. I'm gonna go lay back down. Again, if you have not subscribed already, please do. I will see you guys in the next video. Smooches.